June 30th, 2010 was a day that will go down in my history. I, Carson Magee, was diagnosed on that painstaking day with type 1 diabetes. I remember the pediatric doctor with tears in his eyes softly tell my parents, "Your son has type 1 diabetes." Like many others with this disease, I had no idea what type 1 diabetes was. Forget the diabetes, type 1, I didn't even know what diabetes was. Was it a type of flu that would just go away? Would I lose limbs? How many days would I have before I got out of this surrounding of doctors carrying around shots and IVs for other patients with sicknesses? By this time, I was freaking out, and as the days went on in the hospital, they grew longer. I implored my mom and dad to let me leave, even though I knew it was probably best not to. I was soon told that there was nothing I could do to prevent type 1 diabetes, and there was no cure yet. But as long as I took 4 to 6 insulin shots every day and 10 to 12 finger pokes deep enough to draw blood every day, I would stay alive. Good thing I was sitting down on a bed, or else I might just have fainted right then and there like a pile of jello smack dab in the center of the bed covers. Sugar-free jello, I might add. I had nearly a million thoughts jabbing through my head, just like the millions of shots I would get in the near future, jabbing in my stomach and arms. 6 years later, here I am, still living with this agitating disease, but I am healthy and living a happy life, not letting type 1 diabetes get in the way. We're gathered here today to raise awareness about this disease. Many people, including me, before I was diagnosed, don't know the difference between type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. In some ways they are common, in some ways they are not at all. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease in which the beta cells in the pancreas are unable to produce insulin. In 2014, I rode up to Governor and First Lady Otter on a unicycle at the Ironman Triathlon in Coeur, Idaho, asking them to sign a proclamation stating that the second Monday in February is Type 1 Diabetes Awareness Day for the state of Idaho. The governor thought it was a fantastic idea and made it official. This proclamation was made not only for me, but for all the type 1 diabetics throughout our state. A big thank you to Governor and First Lady Otter, Lieutenant Governor Brad Little, the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, and the American Diabetes Association, and all the other special guests who made this day possible. Please join me in a round of applause for Lieutenant Governor Brad Little, who will now be presenting the Type 1 Diabetes Awareness Day proclamation for the state of Idaho.
I think it was a year ago at this event, I met Carson, his dad, standing right over there as I was walking by, and we had a good visit, and now you can see what citizen lobbying is all about. So good job, Carson. This is an issue that if you have someone in your family or a close friend, you understand the significance of this issue. And I don't think you could have a better advocate than Carson, so congratulations. This is an official proclamation from the Office of the Governor. Whereas type 1 diabetes, or T1D, as you'll get familiar with, and I think everyone here is, but for those rookies like me, not quite so much, is an autoimmune disease in which a person's pancreas stops producing insulin, a hormone that enables a person to turn food into energy. And while there is no known cause for type 1 diabetes, it results in a person's own immune system killing the beta cells in the pancreas, thereby destroying that person's ability to produce insulin. And whereas scientists think that both genetic and environmental aspects may contribute to the onset of type 1 diabetes, which has nothing to do with diet or lifestyle, and there is nothing individuals can do to prevent type 1 diabetes, and no cure. And whereas it is thought as many as 3 million Americans have type 1 diabetes, and each year more than 30,000 children and adults are diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which is approximately 80 people every day. The incidence of type 1 diabetes is estimated to increase by 3% annually worldwide. And type 1 diabetes accounts for $14.9 billion in healthcare costs in the United States each year. And whereas type 1 diabetes strikes at any age, develops suddenly, and in some cases without symptoms, it causes dependence upon injected insulin for the rest of a person's life and carries a constant threat of devastating complications, either when blood sugar is too low or too high, making continuous monitoring of a person's blood sugar mandatory. And whereas, since living with type 1 diabetes is a constant challenge, people must carefully balance their insulin intake, either by injections or continuous infusion by an insulin pump, anytime they're going to eat or drink, exercise, or experience stressful situations like being the Lieutenant Governor. And whereas people with type 1 diabetes monitor their blood sugar by pricking their fingers 6 times or more a day, but still risk dangerous highs or lows, forcing people with type 1 diabetes to overcome challenges on a daily and even an hourly basis. And whereas, while insulin injections with a shot or pump allow a person with type 1 diabetes to stay alive, they are not a cure and may not prevent the possibility of such complications as blindness, stroke, heart attack, and kidney failure. And whereas the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation is driving research to reduce the impact of the disease on people's lives and ultimately find a cure for type 1 diabetes. And whereas people with type 1 diabetes are constantly raising awareness about type 1 diabetes and advocating for research dollars, as convinced by Carson Magee's selection as the 2013 Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation Children's Congress Delegate for the state of Idaho. Now therefore I, C.L. Butch Otter, Governor of the state of Idaho, do hereby proclaim February 8, 2016 to be Type 1 Diabetes Awareness Day in Idaho. And I encourage all Idahoans to support the work of the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. In honor of this important occasion, I, Brad Little, Lieutenant Governor, do hereby witness this proclamation.